Watching all the tripe that I subject myself to has some major advantages, one of which is content recommendation. You see, I watch so much rubbish that rubbish will automatically present itself to me. So imagine the deep joy I felt when a video was recommended to me entitled, "Something huge is going to happen in the world." I simply had to watch it. Hello all and welcome to another episode of Tinfoil Tuesday with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for watching. Yes, today we'll be taking a look at YouTuber Liber, who confesses in his video description that he runs, and I quote, "the best channel on YouTube that speaks about mysteries, enigmas, truth, flat earth, space, aliens, extraterrestrials and many other things like religion, God, Jesus Christ, the Bible, Antarctica, North Pole, giants and titans." That is an exhaustive list. So you can imagine why this sort of video piqued my interest. I'm sure you're all as excited as I am to find out what this huge thing is that's going to happen to the world. So let's begin.
So yeah, when you see tornado chasers being there with the tornadoes which are artificially produced, and you have to be very brave to do that. So
9 seconds. That's how long it took for them to go full tinfoil. Tornadoes are artificially produced. Wow.
in my opinion, what happens in the United States is an experiment, not just in the US, but everywhere in the world where you see these things happening. I guess when you use artificial technology like machines, type Skynet in Terminator, then you can do whatever you want, right? If you read the Book of Enoch, you understand pretty much how the world works and what the world is. Unfortunately, people are not usually accustomed to be so open-minded. So,
well, there is open-minded, and then there is what you are talking about, which is very, very far from what any normal, rational person would be thinking.
Again, we know that there's huge trees in the world which were like, the mountain ranges, like the Alps and the Himalayas and the Carpathians and the Urals and all the mountain range of mountains. They were huge forests or trees that were destroyed by some kind of like tornado or natural event.
Oh. Why, he's one of those people too. For those of you who haven't seen my video on this yet, there are people out there who think that mountains are giant stumps left over from giant trees in the past. It seems like our guy here thinks that every single mountain in the world used to be a giant tree. Less than a minute in and we've already had 2 gems of information.
The artificial event. So if you have our trees right now, which are like bushes compared to the ancient trees, and they can be destroyed so easily, then just imagine the same event like 1,000,000 times multiplied in terms of force and power and capacity of destruction. And the same thing can happen to the forest before, like what we have right now are what's remained of the forest being destroyed. So you have the ancient trees which were cut artificially. That's what we call mesas, like the Devil Tower and other type of those trees that are the world is full of them. And then you have the mountains that were literally just destroyed or torn apart.
Oh, I'm sorry. Some of them were cut down artificially and some were torn apart by giant tornadoes 1,000,000 times more powerful than tornadoes we get today. Right, okay. I'm with you, I think.
And you have the volcanoes as well, like Mount Fuji, which are like chemical residual chemicals just together piled up, and that's why the volcano explodes.
And volcanoes are the product of residual chemical buildup. Right.
My understanding is that you can have this type of storm or event that can destroy pretty much anything. It has to be on a greater scale, and in that case you just destroy the same way that you destroy a carbon-based forest or trees. And after the storm, that's what you're left with, just destruction, right? So nothing stands in place or on its feet. Unfortunately, well, that's the history which happened. I know people are not accustomed to actually understand this because life is all about consuming and doing stuff because your parents did and your grandparents did, and that's tradition and custom. So that's what people think all the time, right? And life is short and you get depressed and blah, blah.
Well, I don't agree with that. I'm working on the assumption that he is religious based on his channel and the fact he mentioned the Book of Enoch. And this is something I often see from some religious people when they're talking about us non-religious people. They seem to know what we think, what drives us, and even what's best for us. When in actual fact they really don't. And if they took the time to sit down with someone like me and talk to me about what I think about the universe and life in general, I think they might be pleasantly surprised.
So yeah, but in the case of those people who are open-minded and they understand what they're seeing on the skies, and when you have storms, then I guess it's not that big of a deal, right? I mean, it isn't at the beginning when you have like short circuits in your brain and you change your mindset and you understand pretty much everything that's happening around you is not what you've been told in history and in school and stuff like that.
Ah, he's talking about the group of people that refer to themselves as woke.
And fortunately, we can still give our opinion about that, right? Because nobody obliges you or makes you or forces you to do things. It's more like people think they're forced, but you're not forced. And this is what happens when you realize that the Earth doesn't have a curvature, that everything is fisheye lens. You get angry and you're capable of destroying windows.
Well, I don't get angry about that because I know it's all gibberish. Carry on.
Or a computer. Yeah. And you must be brave to do this. Obviously, at this time and point, the Earth is spinning at 1600 kilometers per hour in space. And the moon is also at 340,000 kilometers. Who would acknowledge that, right? I mean, you have to be pretty much someone who believes fairy tales to believe that the moon is spinning and the Earth is spinning and there's 340,000 kilometers distance.
More personal incredulity here. Not believing something can exist or happen doesn't mean that it's all a fairy tale.
And then you see these black orbs. What the heck are those? Like, are they just droids or androids or drones or something? They're not birds, right? They're not, so yeah, they must be something.
Well, I would say that they are birds, especially when you can see the wings. Kind of a clue there, buddy.
Are they coming from different continents? Are they just military technology? And we know that the moon is just right there close because you can close it up with a camera, Nikon P900 or P1000, which is available for the public.
Saying the moon is close because you can zoom in on it with a P900 is like me saying I can see the Statue of Liberty in my front garden because I can see it through a toilet roll tube.
So yeah, it's one of those things that once you understand what's happening in the world and once you see it with different eyes, you pretty much are relaxed. I'm relaxed. I mean, I'm trying to see if there's more people relaxed out there who they don't go like chickens when they see this, and they just take it in, and that's it. That's the world we live in. We are not entirely free, but somehow we are free, and yeah, it's one of those things that doesn't affect you anymore. Another thing I want to point out, besides the interesting lights on the sky, it's the flat Earth map or the world map, right?
Hey, wrong episode. What are you bringing a flat Earth map to Tinfoil Tuesday for?
So we know that the world doesn't have a curvature, and we know that this Urbano Monte map, which is publicly online available, the Urbano Monte map or Monte Urbano map, which was built in the 16th century, pretty much 15 and something. What's wrong? I mean, why is the map so detailed? You see all the continents, you see Africa and South America extremely huge, and you see all those continents in the place where Antarctica should be, right? You see there's like the map shows continents.
Where then is Australia?
Like we see on the flat Earth map and the flat Earth maps that were created afterwards, with more continents after the ice wall, right? So they have this information since like 5 centuries ago.
Ah yes, the old theory that there are way more continents outside the ice wall. I think I've seen one person mention 20 more continents. Let's see what evidence he's got for this then.
What's wrong? Why does Google Maps and Earth doesn't show the same thing as we see on these ancient maps?
Because they are ancient, and back then they didn't have anywhere near the amount of information that we have now regarding the shape of the Earth. And also because Google Earth is an accurate representation of the world we live in. That's why.
And what are those continents? And then in the middle of the Earth you have in the North Pole, we have other continents. So all the places in the world where you have the official maps at school, they show you water and oceans and ice. Or not even ice. And on this map you see Hyperborea, where the Hyperboreans were, and all the legends speak about this. And you have all the continents, and there's like 4 continents and 4 rivers, and they make use of... So Mercator and Frozen North Pole, they know about this, and on our official maps, on Google Earth and Maps, well, we have satellites today, right? So why don't we see this stuff?
Why don't we see that stuff? Because it doesn't exist.
People don't care about researching, even though the information is public. They just really don't care. They just accept anything that you put in front of them, and that's why our society is so mud spelled backwards.
Mud spelled backwards? No, can't do it.
You have this island, Brazil. Why the heck is an island called Brazil between the UK and North America and the south of Iceland, right? There's so many things happening on this map, and there's lands that do appear on the map, but they don't appear on the official maps of today.
Oh my. Why? Why do these people think that old stuff trumps the level of scientific understanding we have today? Baffles me.
There's lands that we know they're not supposed to be there, but they're there, which means that the maps we have today, they're lying. And there's also stuff going on regarding different aspects of, you know, certain places in the world, not Europe, pretty much more like South America and Africa and Asia, where you have things that, you know, defy common logic as we know it, right? So
I think common logic is something that has defied yourself for a number of years, my good man.
Why the hell do you have places with giants? Do you have certain areas in the world where you have giants? In showing it to them, like the regions of giants. They even say it's the region of giants. Giants that are like 3 or 4 or 5 meters tall. So who created these giants? Where did they come from? All the legends go, like they represent what's represented in all with all the knowledge of the ancient cultures, which were not so ancient because they built huge monuments. We have the knowledge of Tartaria that had free energy. So everything we know is a lie.
What I find beautifully ironic here is how he babbles on for 30 seconds about giants and Tartaria, the fictitious place buried by the mudfloods, and then finishes it all with everything we know is a lie.
And I'm truly amazed that they actually allowed this map to be still there. Maybe they're just allowing it because they have to, or because they just believe that when you see these things, you're just gonna think that those people who, you know, did this were just insane people who are bored out of their minds. Huge birds taking elephants as if nothing. Like if you see this, it's not just imagination. Maybe there was a huge bird who would take an elephant. You saw that person, that being, which was like female human with monkey and with a tail and with breasts. So
maybe they're allowing it because it's a nice stepping stone in our understanding of the world that we live in. Maybe that's why. Anyway, we're 8 minutes in and I'm still waiting for this something huge that's going to happen. Come on.
Like, could it be that you have like scientific experiments, like hybrids? Or you also have on the map mermaids and what we call like fishmen, right? Half fish, half human. And the thing is, you have certain islands that do not appear on the official maps, and then these continents everywhere. Like, what if the reason why you're not allowed to go beyond a certain distance and the army is there and they turn you back is because you're gonna just arrive to new continents where there's like other people and other beings and stuff, and you're not allowed. I don't know why, because we live in an experiment or something. I mean, we've seen The Simpsons and other movies that there's a dome above us. So maybe you're gonna get to the dome, and beyond the dome there's other lands. Who knows?
Certainly not you, I can tell you.
And that's like the thing with this, right? People don't usually think about these things, and when they do, either they go crazy or they go depressed mode. I know I'm pretty much just different. So I'm just trying to see if there's more people who speak English who are just more open-minded, and they can, you know, even though we will never see what's beyond the dome or beyond Antarctica or beyond the North Pole, at least we think about it, and we use whatever knowledge we still have left to just assess the information from with intelligence, and, you know, see beyond the indoctrination.
Assess with intelligence. Good one. I'm fairly sure that there are many people out there like you looking for something. You only have to check out my Tinfoil Tuesday playlist to know that. But I'm not really sure on your motive. That one still evades me.
Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I will see you guys in the next one, showing you more interesting stuff of the world and more odd things that open your mind and cause positive short circuits. Take care.
That's it? You didn't say anything about this huge thing that's going to happen in the world. That is an absolute clickbait title. I mean, who does that? Oh, here we go. Oh, yes! My video, Flat Earth Leader Gets His 5 Best Points Ruined, has just passed 900,000 views. Get in! Right, that wraps up another episode of Tinfoil Tuesday. Thanks for joining me. I do hope you enjoyed it. This guy gives Hans a run for his money, I think. If you liked it, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe as well if the feeling takes you. I have, as ever, been Simon Dan. Have yourselves a great week. And I'll see you all on Friday for the return of the Gate Guy. See you all then.